Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Good morning, America. Now that's another show in the morning. They'll say their name. How you doing? I'm glad that you're joining us live here today. Don't forget to click that like button. We're going to have a great show for you today. Unbelievable show. I've got so many great topics, an unbelievable amount of clips that will just, it will just tickle your little titties there. We're going to have so much fun today. This show is becoming more and more like the Howard Stern Show. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Peterson, where the 80s rule and the liberals drool. Liberty is what we stand for. It's 1984 in America again. It's morning in America again. I'm just kidding. What's up? Yeah. What's up, Brandon Meyer? I thought you were out doing some crab fishing, man. They give you some time off for the Thanksgiving holiday? Glad to have you here, buddy boy. We've got a lot to do. Is it one lump or is it two? One lump, two lump, three lumps, four. The media whores. I abhor. How many times? What can I find to rhyme with whore? How many words can I find to rhyme with whore? The media is dying, and it's screaming as it goes to hell. Yeah. Burn, baby, burn. P, you wear pink a little too well. Takes a real man to wear pink, Joni. Nice to see you. Oh, the left is crying, and DEI is dying. Walmart scales back. I just got like 3 inches shorter. Yep. Walmart scales back. I get so excited. Walmart just announced that they're scaling back their DEI initiatives. I get so tired of winning. I feel like what's happening is that all over the country now, you've got people at all these major corporations that are walking into the HR department and quoting Donald Trump when they say,
"Shut up, silly woman."
You know what I'm saying? I'm the CEO. I walk into the office and the HR ladies are all just like, they're like shriveled up like prunes ever since Donald Trump won. I mean, it's just drier than the Sahara Desert in there, except for the tears. And the HR manager who's tired of losing all these money and putting in the weird transgender baby line of clothing out there at Target goes into the HR department and looks at the lady and says,
"Shut up, silly woman."
Oh, yes. Because you know who runs the HR department. The media, legacy media is dying. We're not calling them the mainstream media anymore. They're not the mainstream media. We are the mainstream media, and I helped. We've got a lot to talk about this morning, and I've got a million billion clips. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to rage. We're going to have an absolute blast. I saw that some stream in Argentina, it's like the biggest stream in Argentina for Javier Milei supporters, was posting my tweet this morning because I saw they're called Carajo stream, and I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, Carajo. I know this sounds like the Javier Milei people, and then I don't speak Spanish, but I did see that they pulled the tweet up on their stream, and so I reached out to them and said, hey, let's get one of you guys on the Wake Up America show. So the week after Thanksgiving, we're going to have somebody from Carajo stream here. How much fun is that? Thank you, John Rail says. Banned from Thanksgiving this year for voting for Trump, doing my own Thanksgiving and playing games all day, put up the Christmas tree, etc. F them. Well, you know what, John? You did get an invite to a Thanksgiving in Springfield. I saw that. I think Joni invited you, John. So no excuse if you want to be alone. That's your choice because people want to see you and hang out with you. We'd love to have you be around. All right, bud. Let's see. What else have we got? CEO Day asking, are you taking a spot in the new MXNBC AP? Maybe, actually. Maybe.
Can you bless me with something?
Ooh, wrong button. We're going to talk about the media this morning. We're going to talk about Walmart abandoning its DEI. And then we're going to talk to Camellia Peterson about something of which I think I might be able to make her blush. Most girls tend to like the royals topic. You know, the royals, like the royalty. Camellia is not that type of girl to like gush over princes and crowns. First of all, she's a libertarian, right? Obviously, she's not going to get excited about the British crown. We stopped caring what the British crown thought in 1776. You know what I'm saying?
From now on, it's going to be America first, okay? America first.
But I just find the conversation interesting because Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have gone through or have started an official separation. So she married him, ruined his life, destroyed his relationship. Speaking of relationships and family relationships being destroyed, married him, ruined his life, and then decides that she's going to walk away from the relationship after he did all of that for her, left his family, gave up his royal post, his obligations, the legacy, the birthright that was given to him from his beautiful mother who passed away. And I'm sorry, but I just can't see a story like that and not feel something about it, because whether we like it or not, of course, our history is intimately tied to the history of the United Kingdom, and what happens to the royal family, especially in this situation, is very relevant to the lives that we lead in terms of the relationships, the modern relationships that are being built with young people these days. We're going to talk about that this morning with Camelia Peterson at 8 a.m. Central Time. At 8:30 a.m. Central Time today, I've got something even more special for you today, guys, because I'm always working on some special stuff for you. I've got a writer from the Wall Street Journal on the show today. He wrote an amazing piece, How to Kill Wokeness, How Trump Can Kill Wokeness in Washington, D.C. And I was reading this article yesterday, this op-ed that Mike Gonzalez and Armin Tuloe, Tuloe, Tooloee, Tuloe, wrote. It's called How Trump Can Rid Washington of Wokeness. DEI take control of museums. That was an interesting part. Eliminate census racial categories and defund public media. Baby, I'm in. I'm game, baby. Mr. Gonzalez, who will be on the show, he's a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation and co-author of the book Next Gen Marxism. Mr. Tuloe is a chief of staff to conservative activist Christopher Rufo. So 8:30 a.m. Central Time is going to be lit. 8 a.m. is going to be lit. 8:30 is going to be lit. And right now is going to be lit. But don't forget, bless me with something.
Bless me with something?
Oh gosh.
Money-wise.
Head on over to forlibertyshop.com, guys, and start the bonus content unlock, because we've upgraded the bonus content. It is $75 to unlock it by the end of the show, which is more. Don't be mad. Don't, guys. Whoosh. Silence. Quiet down. No, I would never talk to you like that. That's for King Libertarian over on Liberty Tonight. No, I've got upgraded bonus content for you guys. It's better than it's ever been, and therefore it's a little more pricey. So $75 by the end of the show, either in Rumble Rants or a combination of Rumble Rants and purchases at forlibertyshop.com. My recommendation, go to the shop and get your coffee, guys, especially the holiday coffee. I went out of my way to get you guys the Martha's Mint, which I know you love, and a new holiday coffee this year, which is only around for a limited time, which is the roasted chestnuts. So chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Get yourself some delicious Founding Flavors limited edition holiday coffee at forlibertyshop.com and help to unlock the bonus content today. It's new, it's improved, it's better than ever, and it's $75. Okay, so just pay me
something?
Money-wise over at forlibertyshop.com, and then you can unlock the bonus content. What do you say? You guys ready to start the show? Oh, little China girl. Oh. Walmart is making a slate of changes to its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, becoming the latest in a growing list of major corporations to halt the so-called woke initiatives, writes Wall Street Journal. Anti-woke activist and filmmaker Robbie Starbuck, great guy, he's been leading a campaign exposing major corporations' woke policies. He said on Monday that he warned Walmart executives last week he will be doing a story on wokeness at the retail giant. They don't want that. This is an Arkansas business. Instead, Starbuck shared, we had a productive conversation to find solutions. Get him, Robbie. Starbuck outlined the changes Walmart agreed to make, including working to remove sexual and transgender products inappropriately marketed towards children and reviewing grants to pride events to avoid funding content targeting kids. You know what kind of content we're talking about here. Walmart clarified these changes have been in the works for a few years, and they said that they were not a result of the conversation with Starbucks. Yeah, I'm not sure if I believe that. Yes, David Bowie. That's right, Intiga. Well done. Walmart did confirm to Fox Business that it plans to change how it monitors products within its marketplace and review the funding of grants. The company said some products that violated its policies have been removed, such as chest binders, which, if you don't know, these are products designed to flatten the chest. I probably need one of these. The company also confirmed it will review all grants, especially for community events, to ensure that they promote an appropriate environment for children. However, Walmart will continue to support Pride celebrations, which, adults, as long as the Pride celebrations aren't doing weird stuff in front of the kids, it's a free country, right? But I do like this use of consumer pressure. I'm kind of pissed because I feel like I'm cursed to be always ahead of my time and always punished for it, in the sense that, like, 5 to 8 years ago, I'm pretty sure that I was running for president of the United States saying that we should be encouraging things like boycotts against businesses that are engaging in practices that we don't like. And I'm pretty sure that it was a lot of right-wingers that were saying things to me like, oh, the boycotts don't work. No, we need to use the government to crack down on these corporations, blah, blah, blah. And here we are seeing a perfect example of the private market, private individuals using our consumer power to put pressure on the corporations so that the culture moves in our direction. We're winning the culture war, and we didn't even need the government to do it. Now, it helps that Donald Trump just won the presidency of the United States, and I do have to say thank you to whoever blessed me with something. Oy vey! And went over to forlibertyshop.com. They started the process of unlocking the bonus content by buying a Now I Have a Machine Gun sweatshirt. Thank you, sir. It's a great Christmas movie, and everybody's going to love that sweatshirt. Hope you enjoy it. You can get a Now I Have a Machine Gun sweatshirt from the Die Hard movie over at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number, forlibertyshop.com. The company, Walmart, has also decided not to extend the Racial Equity Center it launched in 2020 as a 5-year initiative, and it will ditch the terms Latinx and even DEI altogether in official communications. You got to watch them, though. Just because they change the terms for something might mean that they are changing the terms of something, but they're not necessarily changing the substance of the content. So you got to keep an eye on them because they're very slippery. They're very tricky. Let me just explain something to you. The deep state is not dead. The deep state is very much alive, and it's still in power and still in control. And until January 20th comes around and there's a new sheriff in town in Washington, D.C., there's going to be a lot of mischief happening between now and the 20th. You better watch these guys and don't think that they aren't going to try some shenanigans between now and the 20th. And even then, when Donald Trump is in control, he may still not be in control, because it's right when the demons, when Leviathan, when the monster, when you're close, when you're winning. It's like a video game. You get one, you may think that you beat the final boss, but for any of you who might have played a Final Fantasy game from like Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6, 7 on, right, you think you've beaten the final boss, and then Kefka will turn into some like Demigorgon, a beast monster that is its final, or Sephiroth will evolve into his final form. Lavos of Chrono Trigger will, as you can see, I play video games. It will morph into his final form, and then the boss actually gets stronger. That's exactly what's going to happen with the deep state. When it feels threatened and when it feels afraid, the brain bugs will send out the swarms, and we are going to have to be ready to fight back in the new year. Ho, 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 and a bottle of rum. I'm ready, AP. And if there's a bottle of rum, I'm definitely going to be there. Yes. Yo ho, yo ho. A pirate's life for me. Drink up, me hearties, yo ho. We just unlocked the bonus content. Oh, Andy. Brandon Meyer says, I had a feeling Matt Gaetz was going to be too controversial. Yes, agreed. I tried not to get my hopes up about the whole Matt Gaetz thing because I thought it was a little dubious that he would get across. But I liked where Donald Trump's heart was with that one. I hope that Pam Bondi will be as tough, if not tougher. So Gaetz might be getting something else later on down the line, but I see Floby Tenderson saying he's being benched, ready for the Supreme Court. If he couldn't make it as Attorney General, probably not going to get across the finish line for Supreme Court either, Floby. So don't get your hopes up there. Listen, I'm just being real. I hate to be the asshole who's 5 to 7 to 8 years before everybody telling you what's going to happen, and you all hate me. But trust me, 5 to 7 years from now, you will see what I'm talking about, and you'll be glad. It's the Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Peterson. People call me AP. AP for Liberty. That's what I'm all about, what I've been fighting for the last 16, 17 some odd years since I got into this movement, supporting Congressman Ron Paul. He fell. Ron Paul for President of the United States way back in 2008. And I've been a television producer at Fox Business Network. I have been a presidential candidate, a U.S. Senate candidate. I've been a filmmaker. I'm a father. And just an all-around swell guy. I like to hang out, have fun, do a little scuba diving, watch movies, drink delicious beers, hang out with my friends, and you do a little live streaming. Don't we like the Wake Up America show, guys? If we like the Wake Up America show, what do? We click the like button. And if you'd like to talk to me directly, you can send me a text anytime at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. 1586. It's time for us to play a million billion clips. I love this next one. It makes me so happy, even though it makes me so angry at the same time, because this is a sign that the media is dying and hopefully goes to hell.
Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying like, we are the media, you are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. You having a blue check mark,
they're afraid.
a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter.
It does.
You don't do that by popping off on Twitter.
Watch
You
me.
don't do that by having an opinion.
Yeah, I do.
You do it by doing the hard.
Here's my opinion, Axios president. You're an asshole. How's that? There's an opinion. News at 11. Actually, 7:24 a.m. Central Time. Reporting on the Wake Up America. Is this what I have to do to be the legacy media? It was at 7:24 a.m. Central Time that Austin Peterson doth report that the CEO of Axios is an asshole. News at 7:24 a.m. I'm Austin Peterson, and the CEO of Axios is an asshole. All right. Oh, come on, Internet.
Do is you a reporter? You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
Yeah, come on.
This is hard work. You try running your own show and being on your own show 5 days a week and start from nothing and not have billionaire asshole elite liberal billionaires giving you money to start a media foundation that nobody will watch, and then they'll just donate infinite amounts of money like it's a laundering operation for the left to put into media that nobody watches or listens. You try and run an operation, free market, for profit, and sell boxes of coffee and think that they're dying because they're losing money because they don't get out there and get their own founding flavors. That's how these people operate. They're not capitalists. They are failures. The reason why, in large part, the media is failing is because they don't run their businesses like business. That's Jeff Bezos' primary complaint about the Washington Post, is that they lose money because they do not fund their operations properly through the techniques that are required in the 21st century to fund media. You've got to have WashingtonPostShop.com, and Wall Street Journal does this a little bit. Like, they have a wine club, and then they have like shopping recommendations, but they're not monetizing themselves correctly. They're not going to grow unless they have donations from liberal elite billionaires that keep them, like, think about The Guardian is a perfect example. Would the BBC exist in its current form? Would NPR exist in its current form if NPR had to get off their ass and, instead of stealing my money that I use to build a media foundation, and I have to fund them, my competition? Well, you have to understand that I'm in the media. That means that NPR, when I'm taxed to pay for them, I'm literally being taxed to pay to fund my competition. You think that NPR would exist in the form that it does without some infusion of cash, major infusions. Guys are like, oh, it's only a tiny percentage of the budget. Well, then let the liberal billionaires completely fund NPR so that it can be just like The Guardian overseas that nobody watches, nobody reads, nobody listens to, but elite liberal billionaires get to have their outlet. They can't compete with us. They can't compete with Joe Rogan. They know it. They're saying it. I've got the clips. I've got the news. Here's the media. Let me play for you a sign of what. First of all, like, let's just enjoy when I say enjoy, let's sneer at the smug faces of Morning Joe and Mika Brzezinski as they react to the Axios CEO talking about how Austin Peterson, I'm not the media. Oh God.
He said,
Yeah.
Here it is.
By doing the hard work.
yeah, come on, slow clap, everybody. Whoa. First of all, I've got to say, extraordinary content. It needed to be
They call it content.
Yeah. It
Listen,
continues to
they
need
even
to
call
be
themselves
said.
content. That's Joe, Morning Joe. He is on the media, and he is using a social media term to describe what the Axios CEO just did, which he calls it content, which to some extent would imply that they're giving into the social media, the X, the Rumble. They're giving in to us. They're giving up to us. They're giving us the ground. They're using our language to describe what they're doing in the media. They're the legacy media now. Don't call them the mainstream media. If you see me call them the mainstream media, you call me out.
When all of the garbage is flying around on social media, lying about reporters, lying about the hard work they do, lying about the hard work editors do, lying about everything up and down, about not only their alternative set of facts, but alternative set of facts about what people like you do. Or if social media, people lying every day, every hour, every minute about the news. What you do matters. What the New York Times does matters. What the Wall Street Journal does matters. What Jonathan Lemire does matters. What
Listen
the
to them. They're
Financial
desperate.
Times does matters. What NBC News and MSNBC reporters do matters.
It's over.
It matters.
No, it doesn't. It's over, Joe. It's over. Game over, man. Game over. You love to see it. I love the death of the media in the morning. If you're just tuning in, guys, I'm Austin Peterson. Nice to see you. Don't forget, you can text the show. You see that number down on the bottom of the screen, 573-319-1586 is the text line. Again, that's 573-319-1586. Again, that is the text line, and you can send me voice messages to it, and I will try and check them as much as I can during the show and keep you informed of what's going on. Stephanie Rule of MSNBC had a meltdown over the free speech that we're practicing over on X right now. Take a listen.
Elon Musk bought X and turned it into the social media arm of the MAGA movement. And we all sat there right in the middle of it during the campaign, possibly not realizing that we're sitting there like fat chickens, just getting attacked all day and just being part of this MAGA messaging. However, the election's over. Everybody's getting smarter and better. I'm not sure that the right idea is to leave Twitter and just go to Blue Sky, a friendlier place, because then we remain in our echo chambers. I don't think that you should necessarily stay in Twitter every day and battle it out and let yourself doom scroll of all the hate coming at you. But I want to see it. I want to read what's happening there, right? And so I think at least staying in those spaces is important because I want to hear the other things.
Eddie.
Shut up, silly woman.
Thank you, President Trump. I can't wait till you take back over on January 20th. Yes, the media, the legacy media is dying, and it's because the legacy media is always lying. Here's an example.
I noticed that often include.
Oh, there we go.
I noticed that when you urge people to action,
Yes.
you often include the word
Peacefully.
Is that to avoid another Jan 6 type incident?
With all due respect, it's to avoid people like you guys saying that I'm anything but. My motto is to just be super cute, have my data and facts, treat everyone with love and respect, and as you can see, an army of people will follow.
I noticed that when you urge people to action,
Yes.
you often include the word
Peacefully.
Yeah.
Is that to avoid another Jan 6 type?
No, it's not because we're worried that people on our side are going to be violent. It's because we know that you bunch of assholes are lying about us all of the time. Well done, Scott Preston. An excellent response. Speaking of the lying media, Mehdi Hassan said, when the owner of this website, X, which he's posting on the website, the richest man in the world, oh my God, no, not the richest man in the world, the most followed man on Twitter, constantly, daily, hourly, posts again and again to tens of millions of followers that the media lies, that the media can't be trusted, that all media is corrupt and dishonest. You don't think that has a massive effect, not just on trust and polarization in society, but on election outcomes and political messaging? Absolutely, and it needs to be said. Mehdi Hassan, you lying twat. He's British. Especially when it comes after years of Donald Trump doing the exact same thing. Oh, yes. If Dems and liberals in general don't understand the way in which Musk, Trump, and company, me, have cynically created an impenetrable bubble. Is it inalienable or unalienable rights? Bubble around their followers, prime them against a reality-based universe, preemptively undermine any negative stories about themselves, then Dems and liberals, oh yes, there's never any negative stories about us, then Dems and liberals will never be able to, quote, win in terms of narratives or elections. It's key to everything. It's at the heart of everything. Well, good. Yes. Well, we're going to continue to win elections. Mehdi Hassan, Durka, Mohammed Jihad. I'm Austin Peterson, and this is the Wake Up America show. We're kicking so much ass, and we're winning freedom battles all over the country. Oh, baby, do you know what you're worth? Kim McCurry, why are you sending me pictures of boobies in the chat? I mean, like, listen, I'm a man and I do appreciate boobies. And I know it's not your boobies. It's somebody else's boobies standing next to the governor of Michigan with their boobies out. She says, oh my God, please don't send me pictures like that. Jesus H. Clips need volume. One listener said, I will try and turn them up for you. Another listener texted this morning, says, yesterday, said, I hope that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy clean house with Doge. Well, interesting. One person says, will the Thanksgiving bonus content be clipped and available? I want to show them to my kids. I've told them they sometimes listen better when I show them someone else saying it. Yes, I did actually delete that. I uploaded it to YouTube, but they ripped off they did like a copyright hit on me, so I had to like take it down. So if you want me to send you that, I'll do it over on Rumble. I'll upload it to Rumble and send it over to you a little bit later. Our friend Wood Hippie sent us a message, and we're glad to hear from him as well. So you can text the show at 573-319-1586. Again, that text line is open at 573-319-1586. That's the text line. We're talking this morning about the media lies and about how the left is terrified of what we are creating here online. Take a listen to this.
How do you think this plays politically?
I mean, if people know about it, right? One of the things is we saw all these cases and they never broke through because the media is different, right? It's on podcasts, it's Joe Rogan. So, if it ends up being talked about on Joe Rogan, then people will find out about it. And if it doesn't, then it won't. I mean,
that's amazing. So this is Molly Jong-Fast, Vanity Fair writer, hardcore left liberal. She's on MSNBC. She was furious that the lawfare against Donald Trump never, quote, broke through, right? You see, because it's so insidious. And I'll tell you as somebody who's worked in politics and media for a long time, you can sort of, this is reality, whether we like it or not. But court cases, there's a media element to them. There just is. If you want to win a court case, you have to win on more than just the merits. You have to win the case in the media as well. You have to fight a battle in the media. You have to, because the left was using this lawfare against Donald Trump. Why do you think they dropped the case against Donald Trump? It's not just because he won the election. It's because we won the narrative. Donald Trump won the election. That case against him was going to go nowhere. All these other cases went against. Imagine what his life and what Elon Musk's life would be like right now if we had not won this election. And that's why I hate to like rip at my own people and I don't want to mean to be too much of a dick here, but I do feel the need to say something, that there's still so many black-pilled people out there right now complaining about Donald Trump's cabinet picks, complaining about this or that or whatever with the incoming administration. Donald Trump hasn't even taken over yet. And so many of people on my side, right, the liberty wing of things, who are constantly doom-pilled, and some of them I assume are being paid by Russians and shit like that. But for the ones who are just constantly doom-pilled for free, I'll say this. Do you realize how dark and in a different place we would be right now if Kamala Harris was the incoming president of the United States? How much our justice system being weaponized against Donald Trump and Elon Musk? They want Elon Musk and Donald Trump, but they want you more. They want all of us. Right? Donald Trump was correct when he said that it's not him that the left wants. It's us. He's just standing in their way. Elon Musk is standing in their way. Joe Rogan is standing in their way. And the left is they're on an island now. And the island is getting smaller and smaller. It's shrinking and shrinking as podcasts like this, conversations that people like you and I are having right now on this show are happening. We are outside the bubble. See, the thing is, they're talking about us being in an echo chamber. Well, I mean, how much are we in an echo chamber if we are the majority of the country? I hate that this isn't just like a shameless plug or anything like this, but hold on, the Divided States mug. Let me pull this up real quick. This is at forlibertyshop.com, obviously. Right, but here's the thing. Look at the picture of the map there, okay? You're telling us we're in a bubble, right? Look at you. You are the bubble, okay? We are the ocean. See the red? The red is the United States of America. The blue is dumb Schmuckistan. You are in the bubble, not us. Right? We are the majority. This is America, real America there in the red, right? The blue right there, that's dumb Schmuckistan. Luke Sacker says that mug is great. You like it so much, buddy? Get over there and buy it. Bless me with something. Oops, wrong button.
Can you bless me with something?
Give you the sad ending of the music.
Oh, gosh. Money-wise. Please.
Can you suck it?
What?
Right, absolutely. This isn't an echo chamber. You know how many things I disagree with in the chat and on the show. Love it all the same. Exactly. We can hear ideas that we don't necessarily agree with. But they're freaking out. And the lawfare against Donald Trump was a media concoction. It was not just it was not just a lawsuit. It wasn't about the law. It was about the narrative. It was about them selling a message of Donald Trump being a felon and a criminal, et cetera, et cetera. But these things now in this time, we played 4D chess. We used some, I'll give the Aikido boys their credit. We used Aikido, right? Their own weight against them. And we are the media now. Say it with me. We are the media now. I am the media now.
Saying like, we are the media, you are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
Yeah, come on, slow clap, everybody. Whoa. First of all, I've got to say, extraordinary content. It needed to be said.
Yeah.
It continues to need to be said.
They're desperate.
All of the garbage that's flying around on social media, lying about reporters, lying about the hard work they do, lying about the hard work editors do, lying about everything up and down.
Trash. They're trash. They're dying. And they need to go away. Yes, the lawfare campaign against Donald Trump was not just a judicial campaign. It was not just about the justice system and the corruption of the justice system. It was about the corruption of the media, and this is evidence.
I mean, if people know about it, right? One of the things is we saw all these cases and they never broke through because the media is different, right? It's on podcasts, it's Joe Rogan. So, if it ends up being talked about on Joe Rogan, then people will find out about it. And if it doesn't, then it won't. I mean, that's the sort of siloed effect we're in right now.
Siloed, yes.
How do you think
siloed
this plays
effect that we're in right now. You are in the silo. You are here. Let's get this for the liberals, okay? See the blue, see the mug, the Divided States mug over here at forlibertyshop.com. See the blue part. You are the one who is siloed. You are living in these little bubbles here in dumb schmuckistan, and you need to leave dumb schmuckistan. Come out here into red states America. You need to join. I am enjoying reading some of these articles, by the way, of people who have Trump neighbors. Like some of them during the pandemic moved out of the cities, out into the country. And I read this article about this woman who she is a liberal woman, and she lives in this neighborhood where most of her neighbors are Trump supporters. And she was kind of like afraid of them for a while for whatever God-forsaken reason. And then she, excuse me, burp. And then she got her car stuck in the snow. And it was her Trump supporting neighbor that immediately came to dig her out. And she looked at him. She goes, it was like the scales had fallen from her eyes. And like Jesus himself had touched her with his healing hand. And the scales fell away from her eyes. And she looked at this Trump supporter. I can't remember where I was reading this from, but she realized that he was not evil. That he was not this hateful, terrible, demonic person. Maybe it was Bill Maher's show where they were telling this story yesterday. That the Trump supporters were not these people, that conservatives, that right-wingers, libertarians, whatever, that we are not what the media has portrayed us as, but they live in the bubble. They live in those blue bubbles. They live in dumb schmuckistan here in the divided states of America. Am I right or am I right? They live in a bubble and they don't know what it's like out here in the real world. They live in their bubble, and so they can't understand why the case against Donald Trump fell apart, why it was flawed, because it was flawed from the beginning. So they go on CNN and they whine and they cry and they say things like this.
I think it is a shame for justice in this country. It establishes that Donald Trump is above the law. The Supreme Court put him above the law in that opinion that Paula just mentioned. But now he appears to escape full accountability for what were crimes charged by a grand jury. And I would just add one other thing that we ought to pay close attention to. We cannot normalize the fact that Donald Trump, as the president-elect, should not be held accountable for crimes that he committed before. I think it is a shame for...
such a joke. I mean, that's CNN right there. But ABC News broke into their propaganda reports with an actual news report.
This is an ABC News special report.
Good afternoon. I'm Diane Macedo. We're coming on the air because ABC News has learned special counsel Jack Smith is officially moving to drop the January 6th election interference case against President-elect Trump. He's also expected to move to dismiss the classified documents case against Trump, possibly as early as today.
This is an ABC News.
It broke in with some actual news. You guys, you've unlocked the bonus content. I want to make sure that you see it. I got Camellia coming on at 8. I got some bogeys in my nose, so I got to clean those out. Don't want to do it on camera on stream. I'm always terrified that I'm going to pick my nose. Bogues in, then I'm going to be live. Yeah, but so I got to get Camellia. I want to play the bonus content for you since you unlocked it. You guys already did that. Thank you. And Joni Rankin, I saw you did a super chat, by the way. I appreciate that. I do have the bonus content. Where did I put the bonus content? All right, well, I'm going to go to a real quick little brief commercial break, and then I'll break into the commercial break with the bonus content. I'll be back with Camellia Peterson. Don't go away. I got to pick my nose on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Bye, guys. I'll be right back.
represents a new era? Imagine to redefine its future. Join the conversation. Explore, educate, and engage in shaping the food policies of tomorrow.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
If I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors, what would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? You can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist. Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins.
Elon Musk bought X and turned it into the social media arm of the MAGA movement. And we all sat there right in the middle of it during the campaign, possibly not realizing that we're sitting there like fat chickens just getting attacked all day and just being part of this MAGA messaging. However, the election's over. Everybody's getting smarter and better. I'm not sure that the right idea is to leave Twitter and just go to Blue Sky, a friendlier place, because then we remain in our echo chambers. I don't think that you should necessarily stay in Twitter every day and battle it out and let yourself doom scroll of all the hate coming at you. But I want to see it. I want to read what's happening there, right? And so I think at least staying in those spaces is important because I want to hear the other things.
Eddie, you know...
Good morning. Rise and freedom, baby. It's morning in America, and you're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. Wake up, literally and figuratively. God bless, God bless. God bless us, everyone. Tiny Tim. Welcome to the Wake Up America show, where everything is fun because freedom reigns supreme. Brandon Myers joining us live. So CJ824, I give it a shit, gives a shit, says, I want to be a hardcore liberal for a month. Look at everything from the left. BMO and the election loss. I should join Blue Sky. Don't do it. No.
No offense, but it sounds like that's some fucking commie gobbledygook.
No. Silence.
Shut up, silly woman.
Silly woman. We've got a very silly woman who'll be joining us live in just a few minutes. Her name is Camellia Peterson. Little Joplin girl. Gonna make me hurl. Little Joplin girl. Gonna make me hurl. I want to hear what she thinks about the media. I want to hear what she thinks about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. But before I do that, I got to go on standby real quick and go get her on Zoom. I'm sure she's ready to go. Be right back.
Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day or X today saying like, we are the media, you are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
You do what we do. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching, listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. You don't have an opinion. You don't get to have opinions. You don't get to do what we do. You can't do that. You can't get a microphone and a video camera. At least you can get one that's working, because Camelia can't see me today. But she's here with us anyway. She's staring into the abyss. Camelia, how are you today?
Good morning.
Can you hear me squinting with one eye?
Yes, I absolutely. It's really loud. So could you tone that down a little bit?
Camelia, we're glad you're here. What's your reaction to the CEO of Axios saying that what you and I are doing right now does not qualify us as journalists? We got blue check marks. We're on a podcast right now. We don't count.
Well, I would just like to say that if he would subscribe to premium, he wouldn't have to worry about that 300 word limit.
Oh,
and 288, get
it
it right.
Look at us. I mean, we're just breaking all the rules.
We can even write articles now. Like, what if being able to write articles doesn't make you a journalist? What does? I mean, he sounds a little salty to me.
I know. Oh, he sounds very salty. They have been upset ever since the blue check marks were taken away as a status of privilege, being handed out only to people who were like okay, that the regime was okay with, right? Just like picking and choosing. Right. And I'm not saying that there aren't flaws with the new system. There definitely are. But that was one of the strangleholds that they had on us in social media. And now it's kind of like, it's too late. The cow's out of the barn.
Right. And it kind of gave them that elite status, right? Yeah. That they're, it was validation for them. And yes. I think that's really what it comes down to, right? Is that they need to feel validated in their work because it's going down the drain. Like the legacy media is failing very quickly. And the thing is that, I mean, with so much information available to everyone and so many independent journalists now that have, you've got an internet connection and a camera and, you can do your research online, for the most part, then what do you not have that a journalist has access to? Because, and even, I think for journalists, you say, well, they have their contacts and their connections, right? And I think that there's still some of that that's true to a certain extent, but not nearly as much anymore, because even all of these, connections that they have, these sources are much more accessible online to people because, we communicate that way so much of the time. And so, there's very little anymore that makes them more special. A degree in journalism certainly doesn't make you any more special because it doesn't guarantee that you're going to be, unbiased or factual, because we've seen that happen repeatedly over and over again, that there's a lack of facts being put out there in journalism. So, yeah.
They're upset because they know that one of the major reasons that Donald Trump won the election is because of Joe Rogan and the Wake Up America show and other podcasts that Theo Vaughn and all of these podcasts where we were not paying attention to what they were saying on ABC News and NBC and MSNBC. Nobody's watching it compared to the biggest podcasts in the world, and we're eating into their market share, and their bubbles are getting small. They're accusing us of living in a bubble, but they're living in islands that are getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right. And I mean, what does that even mean to live in a bubble? Like, how am I living in a bubble? I have thousands and, probably millions of podcasts to be able to choose from. And so that means that I'm only choosing, that's making an assumption about me, right? That's making an assumption that I'm only choosing to listen to things that confirm my bias. And the thing is people were doing that with legacy media too. People watched certain channels that tended to confirm their biases. So, people who were more left-leaning watched CNN and MSNBC, and, people who were right-leaning watched Fox News. And so I don't think that's a valid argument, but I think it's great. I do think, there's been the concern about, this backlash against expertise, right? I think that's part of the thing that threatens them, is they feel like they're the experts on journalism in general. But, after COVID and so many of these other things, there's just real pushback against experts, but not to the extent that you throw out all the science, so to speak, right? Trust the science, right? We don't trust the science blindly anymore. I think we're much more in the Reagan trust but verify mode, right? And I think that is illustrated by the number of scientists who are elevated on the right, who did come out and give actual factual information about COVID and other things and the vaccines. And so it's not that there are no trusted experts, in the right, in this bubble, so to speak, right? It's just, they're just not saying what the legacy media wants to hear.
Yes, completely agree. Let me play another clip for you on this one, and then have you react to it as well. Give me just a sec here, and there's the scene.
Elon Musk bought X and turned it into the social media arm of the MAGA movement. And we all sat there right in the middle of it during the campaign, possibly not realizing that we're sitting there like fat chickens, just getting attacked all day and just being part of this MAGA messaging. However, the election's over. Everybody's getting smarter and better. I'm not sure that the right idea is to leave Twitter and just go to Blue Sky, a friendlier place, because then we remain in our echo chambers. I don't think that you should necessarily stay in Twitter every day and battle it out and let yourself doom scroll of all the hate coming at you. But I want to see it. I want to read what's happening there, right? And so I think it.
Now they have to come to us to stay relevant, don't they?
So I just wonder if they're singing nothing but blue skies I see. Right? I mean, like, sorry. Womp womp. Yeah, I mean, it's funny to watch how they're singing a different tune, and they're figuring out that they're literally losing their power, so to speak, and they see that whenever they're choosing to withdraw and go over to Blue Sky or whatever the latest platform of the day is, right? That we're all leaving for. And so I think that they also realize that they're not going to get the attention, the viewers, the money, if they completely abandon people who are in the right bubble, that is the Twitter sphere now, right? Sorry, X. But yeah, so I think it's kind of like, oh, what's their name? Joe and Mika. Like, I don't even think I've ever seen their show. So when they're backpedaling saying, oh, okay, like, we're like, it's self-interest. They're protecting their self-interest, and they know that they are going to be on the outside. And in order to stay relevant, they're going to have to do a little bit of groveling and say, we would like to talk to you and meet with you, and we're not going to shun you anymore.
Yeah, just like Morning Joe went to Mar-a-Lago to grovel to him the other day. Andy Opperman says, I think the COVID media mess cannot be underestimated. That crossed party lines. Lots of folks who were previously happy to believe legacy media got shocked out of their cocoon. Yes, thank you. And thank you, Andy, for the donation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, completely agree. All right, we're going to switch topics now to something else, talking in the context of modern relationships. Camelia, I live a life in public, right? I'm a media figure, if you will, right? So, I mean, I think I could probably pass a journalist. I had a blue check mark when they were handing them out to the elite.
Before they allowed the plebes.
The plebes, yes. But it's because I live a life in public. I'm a, D-lister, if anything, but a public figure nonetheless. And so if I were to say something like, Stephanie, she does some media work for me too sometimes, right? She does some hustling and homemaking reels, and then she will post pictures and videos and does some of the social media marketing. If I were to announce on the Wake Up America show that I was having a professional separation from Stephanie, meaning that, we would not be, we're saying we're not going to have Thanksgiving together. Stephanie and I were not having Thanksgiving together. And my work relationship with Stephanie is in a very bad state. And I started going to events solo. What would you assume was happening with my relationship?
I would say your personal relationship is on the rocks.
Yes. Well, see, because some people, they love to pee on my leg. They love to tinkle on my leg, and they love to tell me that it's raining, because when I read this story about Meghan Markle announcing just that she was not going to be at Thanksgiving with her husband, Prince Harry, and that she was having a professional separation with him, then I assumed the exact same thing, that the relationship was on the rocks. But when I said that today we would be talking about their relationship being in the rocks, people were like, no, their personal relationship is just fine. It's just that they're having a professional separation.
That, right?
Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, and I'm not allowed to speculate. Like, again, they're peeing on my leg and they're telling me that it's raining. But the reason why I think this is an interesting story, not just because it's a royal family and all that kind of stuff, but she ruined his life, Camelia. I have seen what happened to Prince Harry. I've seen this happen to American men that are not like, big wigs or anything like that. But I've seen like professional men who, a lot of them were like, that blue checkmark crowd before anybody could buy one. I have seen so many men who have had their lives destroyed by women, removed from their families. He gave away his royal title. He gave away everything for her. And now she wants a professional separation. You're shaking your head, Camelia. Why?
It is amazing. And she just totally emasculated him, right, in the process. And I mean, I was getting ready to say, why is he celebrating Thanksgiving at all? But is he even here in the States anymore? Because they were talking about he's having trouble with his visa, like all these other different things. Like, why would he have trouble with his visa, right? That makes no sense. That's not that's not a legitimate excuse for them not being together on a holiday or whatever. I think that, so he totally gave up his royal title. Like that is.
Yeah, he gave up his birthright to the family. I mean, he renounced his titles, and they had to give up their attendance, like the Queen's Jubilee or things like that in the last years of her life. They don't attend. He can't perform certain royal functions. He did all that because of the tension between Meghan Markle and the royal family, and she came out and was trashing them, saying that they were racists. I mean, it's the British royal family, for the love of God. Like, yeah, they're probably racist,
I mean, this is a story as old as time, right? I mean, these scenarios have happened many, many times in the past, will happen many times in the future, I guess. And I guess the lesson we should take from this is, mamas, don't raise your boys to be, let's see, what's the word we should say here? Raise your boys to be men, right?
Don't raise your boys to be simps.
Well, yes. Yeah. I mean, like, we probably need to go further than that. But it is amazing to think that a man would give up all of those things for a woman. And I guess it speaks to the power that women can wield. And
when a man loves a woman, put out his best friend if he did her wrong.
Yeah, there's songs written all over about it. Yeah, I don't get it. But, it is a reality of life, but it is really unfortunate. And what do you do now? So, does he still have any wealth that comes from, his royal background?
A little bit, but all of the thing is they had like a podcast and they had like Netflix documentaries and they bombed one after another. Yeah. Nobody was listening to their podcasts. They were starting merchandise lines that were failing here and there. Everything that they did together in their public appearances, they were trying to get close to Beyonce, and they couldn't get close enough to the celebrities. They were assuming that when they came to the United States and when he divorced his family, that they were going to be royals of the United States. They don't understand. We don't do that shit here. They don't understand. Right, if we have royalty, it's our pop princesses, right? Not
everybody
actual
liked
princesses.
them because because like she married the prince, right? That's why they had any notoriety at all, is because she married into the royal family. And so, yeah, it's pretty delusional to think that you can divorce all of that and come over here and then, maintain the same level of popularity. And I mean, I was thinking earlier, if they were still part of the royal family, then okay, you could talk about a professional separation and that they're both still going to be doing various functions, but for the sake of appearances and the family and the children and everything else, they would, in practice, like in public, would still be together, so to speak, for the kids, while their personal lives, they may go separate ways. But, not having that, to fulfill those obligations, like what does a professional separation even mean? That makes no sense.
Well, he's from there, he's from the UK, she's Canadian, so they don't really value.
Why are they even here?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Exactly. So they don't value Thanksgiving the same way we do. They probably underestimated what we as Americans would get, how we would interpret them not spending Thanksgiving together, because of how important it is for us to spend time with our family for the holidays. I know you were never a Christmas person, but were you a Thanksgiving person? At least, what did you do?
Yes.
Okay, so you did do Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, that is actually, and still, even though I do Christmas now, like Thanksgiving is still my favorite holiday of the year. And I think because there's not so much, it's not so commercialized, right? And it really is focused on being with your family and gratitude. And it feels like it's, other than maybe Independence Day, right? It's the most pure in a lot of ways of the holidays that we celebrate here. But yeah, no, it was the biggest deal, for my family and extended family. Like we always did, you celebrate Thanksgiving with your immediate family on Thursday, and then the Sunday following Thanksgiving, all of the extended family. My mom had 16 brothers and sisters in a his, hers, and theirs kind of family. And so, we had a large extended family that would come together for Thanksgiving. And those are things that I miss, and those are things that I treasure. And I think that, if you don't have that, then you won't connect to it. But I think it is one of the best holidays we have because of that.
Camelia, other than me and, our relationship and friendship, what else are you grateful for this year?
Oh my gosh. Other than you, right? So many things. Wow, it's so hard to know where to start. I've been posting some on Twitter, but there's so many things. Like, the older I get, the more I realize what an anomaly my childhood was, and how blessed I was to grow up in the somewhat odd, anomalous way that I did, right? But I think it's given me such a different perspective on life. And I just, my daughters are a constant blessing to me. And there's so many, I get to do work that I enjoy doing and work with people that I actually like. And I get to go all around the state of Missouri and meet people from all different walks of life, and, travel all over Missouri. Missouri is beautiful. And, you get to go through little towns like Marionville and see restaurants that are called the City Morgue. You're like, what's that about? But, there's so much that I feel very blessed to be able to do. And if you have friends, a lot of my friends are really not necessarily right here around me, but we're kind of scattered all over the state. But I do have local people too, and I'm so grateful for friends who, just the separation of time and space is virtually meaningless, because those relationships are so good. And there's just more than I can even begin to count. But I am so grateful to be here. And in this stage of life, we all go through, I think, times in life where, it's pretty hard, and you have to look for the things to be grateful for. But I think that in every situation, if we can look for the good and the beautiful, and we find beauty in the mundane, there is always something to be grateful for. Even if it's just when I get home at night and get out of my car and look up and I can actually see all of the stars out here in my rural community, right? I'm immensely grateful for that. And that, my daughter, when she gets out of the car, she now looks up at the stars and says, look at that. That's beautiful. And so that appreciation, I think, is I'm grateful that my children have that too.
Shut up, silly woman.
I'm also grateful to have friends that have a wonderful sense of humor.
You didn't mention Donald Trump once in your rant there, Camelia. I'm quite upset.
Oh my gosh. Well, I told you, it's like I forget things. So like I'm grateful for Elon Musk and Javier Milei, right? And to live in this time that we live in. Like I would, if you ask the question, like, if you could choose any time to be alive, what would you choose? And I'm like, now. Like, I like now. This is an amazing time that we're living in. And I am very grateful that Donald Trump won his election.
There we go. I am grateful too. Camelia, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience before we let you go today?
No, I would just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I am, on top of all of the other countless things, I am really grateful for the audience of this show, and I'm grateful to get to do these segments with you twice a week. There is, I would just like to say, like, Austin has pushed me out of my box more in the last several years, probably than anyone else. And,
you fought me, dude. You fought me in the beginning. You were not wanting to get in and do this kind of thing and get on the radio and get in front of people. And look at you now.
Yeah, no, I would have, like 7 years ago, 7 years ago, I would have not even remotely thought that I would do anything like this, but I do it as part of my work. I do this with you, and I have no idea why anybody has any interest in anything I have to say, but I am grateful for all of you, and I value your opinions as well. And I hope you all have a very happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your families. And you know what? Here's the thing. Some people don't have immediate families. And I was talking with somebody about this recently. We're so mobile in this day and age, and no family is perfect. And if you don't have family, then sometimes you have to create that community and that family. And I know people who get together with friends, for Thanksgiving and for holidays like that. So create the community where you are and be intentional about it.
There we go. The community that you are, be intentional about it. We appreciate you very much, Camelia.
Have a great day, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Scientific American, the magazine. I remember when it was around when I was
grew up with it. Yeah.
Grew up with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, their editor had to quit. You saw this.
Yeah, I heard about it because she expressed some opinions. Right. Yeah.
Okay, sure, but it sure didn't sound scientific. It didn't sound like the person I would want to be running Scientific American.
Okay.
It was a rant on Twitter. Okay, I could read it to you. It's really ugly. I apologize to younger voters that my Gen X is so full of fucking fascists. Okay, I'm not.
Okay, I'm not a gasket right there.
I'm not for.
All right. Yeah.
I'm not for canceling anybody on either side.
Yeah.
So But here's what I think is the scandal.
What?
This is in Scientific American.
Yeah.
Less than a year ago. Inequity between male and female athletes is a result not of inherent biological differences between the sexes, but of biases in how they are treated in sports. That's nuts. And it sure ain't scientific, and it's in Scientific American. And that's why the Democrats lost the election. It's true.
It is true. What are you laughing at, Neil?
Bill, every 20 minutes on your platform, you come up with another reason why the Democrats lost. You already have the answer. They lost the election. So anything you say is why they did it.
First of all, you don't watch this show, so you don't know that. I know you don't, and it's okay. But you talk as if you do, and you fucking don't. And that's okay. Just don't bullshit me. That's the one thing people can't ever do on this show is bullshit me. And that's fine. But I don't say that. I have very good reasons. But engage with the idea here. What I'm asking is, Scientific American is saying, basically, that the reason why an WNBA team can't beat the Lakers is because of societal bias.
What you're saying is not Scientific American says that. An editor for Scientific American says that, who no longer has the job. So don't indict a 170-year-old magazine because somebody...
Okay, this is called Scientific American, and they're printing something
because someone enters the cesspool that is social media and then participates in that exchange. So
why can't you
let's talk about science.
Why can't you just say this is not scientific and Scientific American should do better?
Well, does she still have her job?
No, not because of this. I said the scandal is not her tweet.
Because that was like a year ago, was it? Which one was a year ago?
I think a year ago, women still couldn't beat men in basketball or any other sport. And it wasn't because of society. You don't see a problem.
By the way,
here?
long-distance swimming, women might actually have the advantage. You can look into that. Yeah.
Maybe long-distance swimming, yes. Okay.
Yeah. I've looked into it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're desperate to confront your
Well, I'm
bias.
going to file you under part of the problem.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Part of the problem. Guess who's not part of the problem? My next guest. He's Mike Gonzalez. He wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal, came out yesterday. So you get to hear his opinion on my show today. You know why? Because Austin reads the news. Austin stays ahead of things. Austin gets you the best guests on the Wake Up America show. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Mike Gonzalez, Wall Street Journal.
Milk Renaissance, a new era, redefine its future. Join the conversation. Explore, educate, and engage in shaping the food policies of tomorrow.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Yeah, this is one of those podcasts that MSNBC has been talking about that everybody was listening to that helped to elect Donald Trump. Now, why are people listening to podcasts like this instead of watching the mainstream media? Well, it's because the mainstream media went woke, and that's why so many of them are going broke. But it's not just the media that's a problem. It's not just the fourth estate in this country. It's the branches of government. It's the diversity, equity, and inclusion standards that are going on, not just at Walmart, where they're starting to dismantle it, at least a teeny bit. Remember, they're changing the names of things. They're not going to call people Latinx anymore, but there are certain structural changes that have to happen within the halls of power, within the halls of government, that will really bring the towers crashing down, like Samson in the Bible. Joining us live right now is a man who has a Herculean task for Donald Trump to tackle when he gets to Washington, D.C. He is a writer for the Heritage Foundation. He wrote a piece yesterday in the Wall Street Journal titled, "How Trump Can Rid Washington of Wokeness and DEI, Take Control of Museums, Eliminate census, racial categories, and defund public media." I like it already. Mike Gonzalez joining us live this morning on Zoom. Good morning, Mike, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Austin, and what you mentioned at the beginning of the intro, the takeover of podcasts has been amazing, and not a minute too soon. It was wonderful to see this new medium, not really new, but the use of it in politics was new, emerge and gain ground over the mainstream media, tremendous ground. It was wonderful.
Yeah, we are excited to see now. We don't call them the mainstream media anymore over here. We call them the legacy media. Yes, because there are more people that listen to podcasts, that listen to Joe Rogan, than listen to shows on MSNBC. And the dollar talks, because we're seeing now that Comcast is looking to spin off MSNBC. They don't like that NBC is associated with MSNBC. So a lot of changes are happening in the corporate world, and they are things that we have to keep an eye on. But I'm really interested to see what Trump will actually do with the government. Your piece, How Trump Can Rid Washington of Wokeness, was very specific. And I'd like to talk to you go through your bullet points here. You're proposing a dismantled DEI Act that's currently working its way through the House. It would eliminate DEI practices throughout the federal bureaucracy. Let's start with number one. What about our universities? Talk to us about that.
Well, so the universities was the number two bullet point that I had. You're quite right that what the left has done is that they have taken over structurally. They're big believers in structures and systems. In fact, they want to dismantle Western civilization's system and America's system. That's why they say we have systemic racism. So they don't deal with racism at the individual level, the way you and I do, whether we call out ugly racists in whom we meet, we recognize as racist, and we say that's a sin, and sometimes it's even a crime. So but what they say is that the systems of the American system is racist and needs to be overhauled. What they have done is they have taken over bit by bit of all the institutions. They have taken over the media, they have taken over the universities, they have taken over entertainment, they have taken over the libraries, the museums, etc. we have to regain that cultural ground, and it has to be policy. It has to be through policy that we regain it. It has to be methodical, and we have the American voter has voted for this. It is very clear that wokeism it has been rejected. There has been a national referendum, and the American people have voted against it. So yes, I think, and so I start out. My first point is get rid of all the Biden executive orders. Let's not forget that Biden really introduces, he's the BLM president, right? He gets elected right after a year of BLM riots. And his first executive order, I'm going to read it here, it's 13985, which advanced a whole of government equity agenda, quote unquote. And that really presages his 4 years. We got 4 years of Executive Order 13985. That needs to be rescinded. The first thing Trump does is rescind that. And then he needs to sign his own executive orders. I imagine he will sign many. He might, knowing Trump, he might devote his first executive order to the border. But I think number 2 should be on wokeism, rescind this executive order by Biden, and then sign 2 of his own, reinstituting the ban on DEI training, diversity, equity, and inclusion training in government offices and government contractors. That's a big chunk of the economy. And then the other one is describing, spelling out what is a man and what is a woman, and what is male and female. And that would clarify the Biden Title IX rule that has so destructively muddled the intent of Title IX. So that, I think, has to be point number 1, then the universities.
Oh, great points there. And you can read in more detail over in the Wall Street Journal opinion section. I'm speaking to Mike Gonzalez. He is a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation. And we're talking about some of the structural changes that Donald Trump should make in order to help end wokeism in Washington, D.C. So you say that Donald Trump should sign executive orders. He should ban DEI training, and he should define male and female in precise biological terms. And that would clarify the Biden Title IX rule, which is to preserve the intent of Title IX, right? What is the intent of Title IX, Mike?
The intent of Title IX was to protect women's sports, to allow women to say, if you spend this much money on boys baseball, you have to spend this much money on an equivalent female sport, golf, etc. It was to my daughter grew up playing soccer. My daughter benefited enormously from Title IX. She played soccer, volleyball, baseball throughout her. She's now in college, but she was a great beneficiary of this. The way that Biden, who went crazy on racial and sexual matters, they redefined Title IX to include boys who think they're girls, to include gender. In other words, if you think you identify as you've gone through puberty and you're 6'4" and you have the build of a man, but you want to play in the women's volleyball team, that threatens the opposite players. People have been hurt very badly, and that allows that boy who may have all his parts to go into the locker room in the bathroom with the other girls and expose himself. None of that is normal. We have to call it out. I don't care what happens with adults. Adults can do anything they want. If they want to mutilate their bodies, that's fine. But I think redefining what is female and what is male will end this nonsense with Title IX.
Yeah, Mike, some really interesting viewpoints in there. We could probably spend an entire hour just discussing that topic alone on Title IX. But I'd like to talk to you about the next point that you have in your article here, which I'm particularly keenly interested in. As a practitioner and a patron of the arts myself, you say we need to take back the museums.
Yes, so the museums is another. We generally look at universities. Let's discuss universities after that as well. But we spend a lot of time, and rightly so, on education, and we ignore museums. Museums have become a front on the culture wars, and they have been used by the left to what they call decolonize, quote unquote, decolonize America. There really, I would wager to you that there isn't any curator graduating from an arts history department today that is not far left. Curators have gone completely woke, have gone completely identity politics. They want to participate in this overhaul of the American system and decolonizing America. So we need to grab a hold of that, and we have to start with the Smithsonian, which is a national jewel. It's the largest museum system in the world, Austin, and right now has been taken over by the left. The secretary, Lonnie Bunch, is very woke. He says that DEI is at the heart of the Smithsonian's mission. It shouldn't be. This shouldn't be. By the way, just to make it very clear for people watching at home, if diversity, equity, and inclusion were described, were defined in the traditional manner, obviously I'm for inclusion, obviously I'm for diversity, and obviously I am for equity. But right now they have been redefined. Inclusion just means language codes. It's exclusion, really. Equity has become the functional opposite of equality. And diversity means racial quotas, which the Supreme Court says are unconstitutional. So DEI, thus defined, cannot be at the heart of the Smithsonian's mission. We need to regain balance there. We need to appoint a new board of regents that would reset balance, that would retake the ground lost to the left over the last few years.
Mike, what do you think would be the outcome of something like that? I mean, what would be the impact, would you say, culturally, if conservatives were to have a say in the arts?
Well, we would go back to prizing the true and the beautiful in art. We would go back to we would not try to use art to change history, to change how history is told. We would not, a family that comes from Ohio that has spent a lot of money to travel to Washington, their capital, or from Nebraska, from any other state, and visits the Smithsonian, it should not have to be lectured at when they go to the National Academy of Arts and see a painting and say, this is how America, how settler colonialism happened, and how we oppressed other people. I understand what they're saying, but the history of man has been invasion. The history of England was the Romans invading the Celts, the Anglo-Saxons invading the population that was there as a result, then the Normans invading, the same with Spain, the same with Germany, the same with every part of Africa, the Mongols invaded all of Asia and half of Europe. So this is not something that is unique to America. It's not unique to the West. It's not unique to Europeans. It's something that we have always done to just lash ourselves and try to change history to make America ugly in museums has been a very grave wrong, and conservatives need to change that.
Mike, talk to us about your next point in your article here. You think that we should eliminate the census's racial and ethnic categories. Why?
Well, these categories are the lifeblood of identity politics, and identity politics is what is used by the woke to change America, because it is through them that you then create the oppressor versus oppressed paradigm that is at the key of wokeism, and that is very Marxist, by the way. This is why I wrote my book, Next Gen Marxism, because this is a very Marxist idea. This idea of seeing the world in a paradigm of the oppressed versus the oppressor is in the first page of the manifesto, the Communist Manifesto that Marx wrote in 1848. He writes that very verbatim. So the categories are new. What we call the ethno-racial pentagon of whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asian Americans, and Native Americans is something that first emerges out of OMB in 1977 in something called Policy Directive Number 15, and then it gets slapped on the 1980 census and it's been there since then. And what the activists, I cite one of the activists, Christina Mora, that said, well, what they wanted to have was collective amnesia. If you ask somebody today, they will tell you, oh yeah, no, Hispanics have been around forever. Well, my last name is Gonzalez. I remember in the early 70s, in the mid 70s, when my uncle came to our house in Queens and said, well, the government is thinking of calling us Hispanics now. We were dumbfounded. We were Cuban Americans on our way to being just normal Americans. We did not need this category created for us to balkanize us. And that was the idea, Austin. The idea was to have these categories, so some of them would be oppressed, would be told they were oppressed, and they would then have grievances, and they would then use those grievances to have a desire to overturn the American system. We need to get at the root of that by rescinding that 1977 policy directive and the revisions that we've had since then. There was one in 1996. The census is trying to have another revision now. They want to actually racialize Hispanics. Hispanics is now an ethnic category, and they want to create a new one for Middle East, North Africa. We don't need new ones. We need to get rid of the old ones.
I'm speaking to Mike Gonzalez. He is a writer, or excuse me, he is a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation. He wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal opinion section that appeared yesterday that you can read in more detail on these things. I'm very excited to have him here joining us live. If you're enjoying this content and you despise the legacy media, then do something you can't do when you're watching MSNBC or CNN or whatever legacy media channel people watch these days. I don't know. I don't watch it. Then click the like button and drop a comment below the chat. You can't do that when you're watching MSNBC. So help to support the new media. We are the media now, as Elon Musk likes to say. So click like, drop a comment. And if it is your first time watching the Wake Up America show today and you enjoy these types of conversations, click the follow button as well so you can come back and hear more from great minds like Mike Gonzalez, who is joining us now. This last point in your article, Mike, I'm very excited to discuss. This was a sticking point in the previous election in 2020 that the Democrats, the left, were using to attack conservatives and libertarians and people like ourselves, Mike. And that was, they accused us of wanting to kill Big Bird. And now I'm reading your final point here, Mike, and it looks like you have is there a big bird on your menu for Thanksgiving this week, Mike? Because it sure looks like it.
How topical for Thanksgiving. First, I want to say I misidentified the National Portrait Gallery earlier. I called it the National Academy of Arts. I just came back from Europe, so so it's the National Portrait Gallery that I obviously meant. Yes, what a great what great timing to discuss killing Big Bird. Actually, I don't think we would kill Big Bird. I think Big Bird there's a demand for Big Bird. Big Bird sells well. PBS and NPR and the other public broadcasters, many of them produce good products. They will do well with the membership model. To be honest, I don't care whether they do well or not. I think they will become even more beholden to leftists like George Soros or the Tides Foundation, who will then become the big donors, and they will become completely lefty. But I don't care. I don't care that MSNBC exists. I don't have to watch it, and nobody watches it, in fact. So what I believe strongly is that I agree with Jefferson that it is tyrannical to demand that a man pay for opinions he despises. Jefferson wrote that hundreds of years before the first broadcast was ever emitted. We cannot have that, and yet half of the country, more than half of the country, if we go by the elections, is forced to pay for NPR and PBS, which is completely biased. They dug this hole for themselves. They created the situation in which, and by the way, since the beginning, they have been this way. Every Republican president since Nixon, that is, when NPR and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting first emerges, it's passed. It's an act of Congress in 1967. It goes on air in 1970, I believe, for the first time. And every Republican president since then has tried to defund it or get rid of it. They haven't been able to because many rhinos in Congress support it. And I think we need to start calling them now by name and saying to them, I will start soon if need be, to say, look, you can't defend NPR anymore. It is a broadcaster that is aimed at conservatism. It's a state broadcaster in the all state broadcasters defend the status quo, and the status quo that NPR and PBS defend is the big blob, the Washington blob, the permanent bureaucracy, the ideas, the tastes, the fears of the permanent state, the bureaucrats, of the 2 to 4 million bureaucrats that live here in Washington or around the country. It is their views, the views of the Silver Corridor that NPR and PBS, portrays. That's why it's a state broadcaster, and that's why we can't ask everyday Americans to pay for it, and it needs to stop. And I think actually this is the right time. I'm very heartened by the fact that Elon Musk is talking a lot about this, of the need to defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which is the middleman between the taxpayer and NPR and PBS. But I don't think defunding goes far enough. And by the way, my chapter in Project 2025 was on defunding the CPB, but I think I made a mistake. Defunding is not nearly enough. It needs to be dissolved by an act of Congress.
Well, that's quite exciting, Mike, and you're definitely preaching to the choir here over on the Wake Up America show. We come from the libertarian wing of the Republican Party here, and we consider ourselves to be extreme abolitionists when it comes to things, when it comes to issues like the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and NPR. Dissolving the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is the kind of thing that just makes us smile over here. And if it happens, hopefully a year from now, we'll all be giving thanks as we eat a big bird next Thanksgiving. Mike, is there anything that you think we failed to cover here? Anything important? I know you have a book. I'd love to give you an opportunity to plug your book, but are there also any other thoughts that you'd like to share too before we go?
Yeah, well, yes, thank you for that. My book, Next Gen Marxism, What It Is and How to Combat It, with the great and amazing Catherine Gorka, is out, has been out since April, selling very well. We're very happy with it, and it really describes the philosophical origins of all this, of wokeism, how it is just a new version of Marxism, is a cultural Marxism with Americanisms added to it. We didn't really speak about the universities, but I think the accreditation system needs to be changed. I think that the Constitution the government needs to protect the rights of students. You cannot have a compelled speech. We cannot have compelled trainings in universities, or students should be able to say that no, a man does not magically become a woman because he thinks he is and dresses and puts on lipstick, but dresses up like a woman. You should be able to say that and not get fired, not get thrown out of university, and not get canceled. So I think that universities take a lot of public money. Harvard takes in something like $500 million a year, I believe, in taxpayer money and different subsidies. That needs to be threatened. We need to hurt them where the money is and say, you either abide by the Constitution, by the only Constitution that we live under, that's the Constitution of 1787, or we'll take your money away.
Mike Gonzalez, a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation and columnist. His piece over at the Wall Street Journal dropped yesterday, How Trump Can Rid Washington of Wokeness. Also grab a copy of his book. I'll try and pull that up on screen for our audience before we go. Mike, thank you very much for your time today, and thank you for responding to us. I think the audience, I can see the response is very congratulatory, and I hope that Mr. Trump will listen to your advice when he takes office next year. Thank you for being so generous with your time, and have a wonderful day, and a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Austin. Have a great time. Thanks.
Thank you very much. That is Mike Gonzalez. Great stuff. Okay, so let's talk here for just a moment, guys. You and me. I just need to have a private little conversation with you. This is our little secret, right? You have a secret. You don't even know that it's a secret. It's not a closed secret. It's just more of kind of like, sort of a private club that you're a part of. And if you're the listeners to the Wake Up America show, you're part of a secret society a bit, right? And not a lot of people necessarily know what's going on in the secret society, but we don't want to be a secret society. We want to be an open society, a transparent society. And let me just tell you very briefly about this secret society that you're a part of. When the Wake Up America show is not live, there's a lot going on to help make the Wake Up America show amazing 5 days a week that you're not seeing. So Mike Gonzalez, he writes, he was one of the authors of Project 2025 over at Heritage. He writes this incredible article, in great detail about what Trump needs to do to dismantle DEI in Washington, D.C. This is an important piece. This is a relevant piece. This is information that you need to know that you're not probably going to hear on any of the networks. If you do at Legacy Media or even a lot of the other podcasts, they're not going to get this information to you the way that they did. And if they do, you're not going to hear about it until at best tonight or tomorrow or the next day, unless you were a part of our secret society, right? You understand that the Wake Up America show is doing something very special, and it's part of a network of 3 shows, the For Liberty Network, that is doing work behind the scenes all day long to make sure that you hear the important information that you need to hear before anybody else is talking about it. It happens here on the Wake Up America show. So here's what my ask is for you, is to help to open up this secret society. I'm asking for you to introduce us, me, our group, the Wake Up America show, to somebody that you know or you love. If you're over the holidays and maybe you're talking politics and it's maybe with somebody that you know and you like and you agree with politically and they don't know about the Wake Up America show, I'm going to ask you to bless me with something.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, God. Not necessarily money-wise, but I'm going to ask you to introduce me to your friends. Would you introduce me to your friend if we were at a dinner party? Would you say, hey, this is Austin Peterson. I watch the show. I hang out with the group. I comment in the chat. It's way better than others. I'm hearing about everything that I need to know in the news way before I hear about it on any of the other channels or any of the other podcasts. Would you introduce me to your friend like that? Well, then please do so. When I'm not there to ask you for a favor, to bless me with something, I'm here with you now. So I'm going to ask you now, over the holiday season, you're spending time with your family. If you're chatting about Trump and politics, and you find someone in your family or friend group that is like you and they don't know about the Wake Up America show, tell them what time we're live. Tell them how to download Rumble on their phone. Subscribe to the AP for Liberty channel on their phone on the Rumble device. Tell them to come in and join us. Tell them to give us a try. Let's make it so that we're not a secret society. What do you say? Because as you see, guys, the content that you're getting here is unlike anywhere else. We're working so hard. Stephanie and I, we literally work 7 days a week to build up this network and the shop and everything for you guys to make this amazing. And I think it is amazing. And I'm asking if you would share us, because I think really at the end of the day, the only way this podcast is going to grow at this point, we've reached a little bit of a plateau. I think that the only way that we're going to grow to get to the next level is if I ask you to introduce me to your friends. I really think that's probably it. I could spend a lot of money on advertising and we get a lot of faces of eyeballs. People come in, they have no idea what it is. But I don't want to be a secret society. I want to be an open, transparent society. And I want to get big. I want this show to grow huge. And you'll always be my OGs, right? You'll always be the Cantina crew. But we want to grow our society. We want to grow our culture, our ideas, and get more people interested in these ideas. So please do introduce me to your friends over the holiday and come back and join us again tomorrow morning. I'll be out on Thanksgiving Day. We will be back the next day on Friday, so we'll be taking Thanksgiving off, but I'll bring my sweetheart Stephanie and the baby in on Friday for Freedom Family Friday. So no show on Thursday. Don't be sad. And we'll see you guys here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Thanks, guys. Exit through the gift shop. Thank you, Decision Points. Welcome. Years ago, we started this.
And I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's revolutionary roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's patriotic perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at ap4libertyshop.com.